Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to part 15 of where I show all my vinyl records. Now we're currently in the miscellaneous section and on the letter R. Now the first artist I'm showing here is actually quite a sizable collection, and that is Lou Reed. So if you're not a Lou Reed fan, you can skip on halfway through this video. So the first one is the debut album by Lou Reed from 1972. And this is the one with I Love You on it and Wild Child, which both made the Greatest Hits album, which will be coming up. I Can't Stand It, Berlin, the original version, and Going Down, Walk and Talk It. A lot of these are ex-Velvet Underground demos, but this is actually a very good album. It's not brilliantly produced, and it does feature Caleb Quaye, who went on, or actually was part of the Elton John band around this time, and then he went back to Elton John in the mid-70s, Steve Howe and Rick Wakeman. I think this is good and it doesn't get the credit it deserves. Also in 1972, and this is his best album, is Transformer, produced by Mick Ronson and David Bowie. I put Mick Ronson first because I think he had more to do with it. However, this is the one with Vicious, Perfect Day, Satellite of Love, Walk on the Wild Side, and New York Telephone Conversation, I'm So Free, Andy's Chest. This is an absolutely brilliant album. Then we have from 73, and it's Berlin, and this is a very, very dark album with The Kids, The Bed, Sad Song, Caroline Says, two versions of it, 1 and 2. And Oh Jim, brilliant album, but if you're expecting this to be an easy listen, it's not. But once you get used to this, this is one of his best as well. Then we have Rock and Roll Animal, the live album, and this is okay. It's got rock and roll on it, Sweet Jane, but it is actually quite heavy. And I remember Jeff out of Calico Silver saying that he's not that keen on this because the band doesn't fit with Lou Reed. Actually, it's more a band album rather than a Lou Reed album, but I think it's alright. Sally Can't Dance, and this is I think one of his biggest ones in America, with the title track, Ride Sally Ride, Billy, nice acoustic track, Animal Language. It's okay, it's not as good as his first two albums, or first three albums actually. Coney Island Baby is not a bad album either, and this is the one with Crazy Feeling, Charlie's Girl, She's My Best Friend, which was another one of those Velvet Underground outtakes, and A Gift, and of course the title track. It's a decent album. And then we have Lou Reed Live, and this is from the same concerts as the Rock and Roll Animal, and this one has Walk on the Wild Side, I'm Waiting for the Man, Vicious, Satellite of Love, Oh Jim, and Sad Song. I actually think this is a better album than the Rock and Roll Animal one, although it doesn't seem to get the same sort of critical acclaim. The first album for Arista, and it's Rock and Roll Heart, and I believe that this one was marketed along with Patti Smith's Horses around the same time. And this is okay, it's actually quite catchy, but I just don't think it's that great. A couple of decent songs off it, like Banging on My Drum, I Believe in Love, and the title track is by far the best song off this. The Walk on the Wild Side, the best of Lou Reed, which I mentioned earlier, and it has Satellite of Love, Wild Child, I Love You, Walk on the Wild Side, Sweet Jane, White Light, White Heat, Sally Can't Dance. It's pretty good. If I was to do a compilation, I would have not included some of the tracks though. Street Hassle from 78, and this has got Give Me Some Good Times, which has a riff from Sweet Jane on it, which is pretty good as well. Leave Me Alone, Wait, I Wanna Be Black, the big title track, Street Hassle. It's a very good album. And then from 79 we have The Bells, and this is not a bad album. It's got a couple of sort of disco-y songs like I Wanna Boogie With You, but it has City Lights, and my favourite track off this is All Through the Night, which I think is really good. It's almost like a fly on the wall type song with a little bit of music and just listening to them partying away, but it's always been my favourite track off this. And then we have from 1980 Growing Up in Public. It's not a bad album. So Alone's probably my favourite off this. How Do You Speak to an Angel is okay. My Old Man is not my favourite, but it's alright. And then we have The Blue Mask, which replicates the cover of Transformer. And this was very critically acclaimed, although I think this is a little bit overrated for me. My House is very good. Heavenly Arms is a nice song, the very last one. Waves of Fear, The Gun. I think The Gun is one of the very few Lou Reed songs that he has never performed live. But from 1982, decent album. Maybe a little overrated. 83's Legendary Hearts. Again, this is a good solid album. The title track is great. Pow Wow was okay. Rooftop Garden, again the last song I think was very good. Martial Law, The Last Shot, decent. 84's New Sensations I think is really good, and it is. Some of the songs are quite dated and sound like the title track, but it's probably the best song off this. Lou Reed in the 80s I think did really well, although he had some 80s sound, he didn't go overboard with it. I Love You Suzanne was a great fun single. Doing the Things We Want To has always been one of my favourites. My Friend George, Down at the Arcade, High in the City. I just think this is a very, very strong album from 1984. One that gets slated a lot is Mistrial from 86, but I think this is good as well. I like the title track, No Money Down. I Remember You Have Always liked. Video Violence and the Original Rapper are not great. Tell It to Your Heart's a really good song. It's a good album and deserves more credit than it actually gets. Lou Reed, New York from 89, the comeback album, and this is really good, although it's not perfect. Some of the songs are absolutely brilliant. The first 4 songs in a row, Romeo Had Juliet, Halloween Parade, Dirty Boulevard and Endless Cycle, are 4 of the best things he's ever done. Flip over to the other side, Busload of Faith is good. Sick of You is a song I loved at the start, but unfortunately I'm a little bit sick of it. And Good Evening Mr. Oldham is extremely catchy. It's a good album, but this is a very long album for one disc. And I have a feeling whenever this was reissued in the box set they spread it over 3 sides, but still good. Magic and Loss from 1992, a very, very dark album, but very enjoyable. What's Good is great. Harry's Circumcision is very good as well. Sword of Damocles is probably my favourite off this. As I say, very dark and moody, but it's a good album. This one I struggle with, and it is Songs for Drella with John Cale. I've never really got into it. Small Town, the opening track, it's only a couple of minutes long, is my favourite track off this, and I can't really remember anything else that's on it. This one here is a Record Store Day one, and this is Twilight Reeling. I think that last one was Record Store Day as well, and I think this is good. It's got Hooky Wookie on it, Egg Cream, New York City Man, and the very, very catchy finish line. This doesn't get a lot of credit either, but I think this is better by far than Songs for Drella. I think it's really good. And my CD didn't have the blue cover, it had a yellow cover. This one here is Record Store Day, and it's Ecstasy, and whenever I bought this in CD I hated it. Filed it away, and then I knew this was coming out in Record Store Day, and so I took the CD out just to play it, and this is one of his best. It's a really, really strong album. Like a Possum I think is the big long one, which is absolutely brilliant. I think it's that one, and it sounds like the Velvet Underground, but it's a really, really strong album. These albums are actually getting heavier in weight. The Raven, another Record Store Day. I think this was Black Friday, and this is Edgar Allan Poe songs. It's okay. There's a few reworkings of songs like Perfect Day, which is nowhere near as good. The Bed I think is on this as well, which is nowhere near as good, but it does feature David Bowie on the short track Hot Frog, which I do like actually. And because we have the Lou Reed albums, I filed the Velvet Underground ones with them as well, and everybody knows this is the Velvet Underground and Nico with some really great tracks like Sunday Morning, I'm Waiting for the Man, Femme Fatale, Venus and Furs, Heroin, There She Goes, I'll Be Your Mare. Absolutely brilliant. White Light, White Heat. This is not the original cover. I think this is the 80s cover, and yeah, it's okay. There's a couple of really big long songs, like The Gift is over 8 minutes and Sister Ray is 17 minutes, and a lot of it is sort of feedback noise, but there's some good songs in there, like the title track, Lady Godiva's Operation, Here She Comes Now, and I Heard Her Call My Name, which I think is very good, although the guitars, I'm not that keen, to be honest. The Velvet Underground, the third album, much more mellow with Pale Blue Eyes on it. And Candy Says, Beginning to See the Light, which I really like, and What Goes On. It's a very, very good album. They'll tell you quite a few Lou Reed albums. The Velvet Underground 1969, which is really demos like Foggy Notion, I think got on to the next album. I Can't Stand It got on to the Lou Reed album, the debut. Ocean also got on to the debut. Rock and Roll got on to Loaded. Yeah, I'm Sticking With You. Lisa Says, Andy's Chest actually got on to Transformer. It's a good album actually. Loaded itself, a decent album, not the best. The first 3 songs are the best 3 songs on it. Who Loves the Sun, Sweet Jane and Rock and Roll. Very popular in America, that one. And this one I bought, must have been about 1990 or whenever it was released, and it's the best of the Velvet Underground, words and music of Lou Reed. I'm Waiting for the Man, Femme Fatale, Pale Blue Eyes, Lisa Says, Sweet Jane, Rock and Roll, I'll Be Your Mirror, White Light, White Heat. Excellent album. I think that's it for Lou Reed. Yes, it is. And we go on to something completely different. Jim Reeves, Moonlight and Roses. Really nice music. I love his voice. I know these are 50p albums out of any charity shop, but I think he's a great singer, and there's one album in particular I'll come to. A Touch of Velvet, Jim Reeves again. Another very good album. I Fall to Pieces on this. Welcome to My World, really nice album. Jim Reeves, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? And I don't think there's any huge ones off this, but again, it's just nice, easy listening. It would be my easy listening guilty pleasure. Jim Reeves sings with some friends, so sings with Dottie West, Gordon Stoker, Leo Jackson and Floyd Robinson, Steve Moore, Carol Johnson, Ginny Wright, and to be honest with you, I haven't heard of any of them before. I got quite a few of these in a job lot, very cheap. Jim Reeves Golden Records, so this should have some of the big ones. Yeah, it does. Bimbo's on this, Welcome to My World, Mexican Joe, Danny Boy, and I Love You Because, again, easy listening. This is one that we got in the mid-70s. I bought this again, and it's the 40 Golden Greats. This is a TV advertised album. It stood really well in the charts, and it's all the big singles. And my favourites are Distant Drums, Guilty, Four Walls, and the one that Brian Ferry covered, which I just cannot remember the name of, and I can't see it, is You'll Have to Go. That's my actual favourite Jim Reeves track. Girls I Have Known, Jim Reeves, and these are just all about girls, all girls' names: Marie, Mona Lisa, Charmaine, Margie, Anna Marie's a lovely song, My Mary, Ramona. Again, it's a decent album, it's a nice album, and this one is a Stonewall classic. This is one of my favourite albums of all time, and it's 12 Songs for Christmas. I absolutely love this, and the version of Silver Bells is unbelievably good. And now we go on to R.E.M, and this is Life's Rich Pageant. Yeah, this is whenever they were on the IRS label. This is obviously a Back to Black reissue. and has Begin to Begin, Hyena. My favourite is I Believe. It's got a bit of a sort of a country touch to it. Fall on Me is a great single as well. Cuyahoga, very, very good album. Eponymous, R.E.M, and basically this is like a little greatest hits from the IRS years. Again, Driver 8's on this, Fall on Me of course, Finest Work song, different mix of that. Radio Free Europe, the actual original single mix I believe. That's a good album. Again, another reissue. And Green from 1988, now that's probably my favourite R.E.M album. And it's got my favourite R.E.M song on it, and it's not even titled. It's the last hidden track, which everyone knows is untitled, but it's got Orange Crush on it, Stand, a pop song, You're Everything. Absolutely brilliant album. World Leader, Pretend. Out of Time, another very good album with Losing My Religion. And the one I really like is Me and Honey with your girl, is it Kate from the B-52s singing on it. Half a World Away is very good. Belong, Low, Endgame, Your Wild Heaven, good album. Shiny Happy People of course, which I used to hate, but I actually quite like that now. Monster, with my second favourite R.E.M song, What's the Frequency, Kenneth, and it has Crush with Eyeliner on it, King of Comedy. I also love Strange Currencies, Tongue, Bang and Blame, very, very good album, a little more glammier and a bit rockier. And then the best of R.E.M in Time, 1988 to 2003, a double album of basically the singles, you know, ones like Day Sleeper, which was good, Electrolyte, of course it's got Imitation of Life, What's the Frequency, Kenneth, Man on the Moon, and Everybody Hurts is a very, very good album. I don't have the Automatic for the People album on vinyl. REO Speedwagon and High Infidelity, but Don't Let Him Go, Keep On Loving You, and Take It On the Run, and Then Your Letter. Very, very good album from 1980. I think that was released, but it wasn't a hit here until 81. And the follow-up from 1982 is Good Trouble, which is not a bad album either. It's got Keep the Fire Burning on it and Sweet Time, and The Key, not as good though as High Infidelity. Cliff Richard and 40 Golden Greats, and this is a really good album. It takes in all his hit singles up to around 1977 or so. He did have some really good singles in the 60s. Cliff Richard, now we're going into Charity Shop Fodder again, and is I'm Nearly Famous, and this is the one with Miss Unites on it and Devil Woman. You know, it's okay, but I very, very rarely play it. And it's the same with this one, Rock and Roll Juvenile, with the #1 hit, We Don't Talk Anymore. And was there another hit single off this? I think there was, Carrie. Yeah, it's okay again. Cliff Richard, Wired for Sound, with the title track and Daddy's Home, which is actually quite critically acclaimed, but I've never ever liked that song. Cliff Richard again, and the Private Collection, which is following on from the 40 Golden Greats. So you get your Some People, you get We Don't Talk Anymore, the brilliant She Means Nothing to Me with Phil Everly. What's the one I like? My Pretty One, I think, is very good. Mistletoe and Wine, unfortunately, is there, but I loved it at the time. And there's one other one, Dreamin'. I think it's an absolutely classic song. We're Not Far Away. Lionel Richie and his debut album, and this is the one with My Love on it and You Are, and the big hit single Truly. It's okay. It's a better album, Can't Slow Down. And this has got Petty Lover on it, All Night Long, which is a classic. Running with the Night was a single, and Hello was actually the big hit single over here. It's good. Not quite as good as Dancing on the Ceiling, but it's okay actually. It's got Dancing on the Ceiling, obviously, C'est La, and Ballerina Girl, and the big hit Say You, Say Me. Lionel Richie again, and Back to Front, and this is basically a 2-album greatest hits, which is good. This copy is not in great condition, unfortunately. It's a bit scratched. the Righteous Brothers Unchained Melody, and I got this for Christmas, and I think it was 1990, and it has obviously Unchained Melody, You've Lost That Loving Feeling, Eptide, You're My Soul and Inspiration, It's Okay, and about 3 or 4 more. B.A. Robertson, Initial Success, and yeah, this has got, if I can remember the singles, Cool in the Kaftan, which I always like, Bang Bang, To Be or Not to Be, Knocked It Off. I think those were the 4 singles off it. I think that was his most successful period. I don't think he had much success after that album at all. Robbie Robertson, and this is the one with Somewhere Down the Crazy River, which I think is a really, really good track. And 2 more, and they're all from Mr. Kenny Rogers, 20 Golden Greats of, and my father used to have this on tape, and it is very good. Like, you've got Lucille Lady, The Gambler, Daytime Friends, we've got Tonight, Love Lifted Me, Sweet Music Man, and Ruby Don't Take Your Love to Town. I just think it's really good. And this one here, which I think is a very good album by Kenny Rogers, and it's Eyes That See in the Dark. And this basically, if you can see Barry Gibb there, it's really all written by the Bee Gees, and this has a duet with Dolly Parton, Islands in the Stream. But the best song off this is the title track, which I think is wonderful. And Evening Star is an absolutely beautiful little country catchy number. It's a very good album. So that is going up to R.O. Now the next one will continue with R.O. I'm not doing it in this video because there's a lot of this next band, and I'm combining his solo work with it as well, so I'll start that in the next video. So that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have that next video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.